What is this? You came to me, to my town, with all these speeches, and you're talking to me about doing the right thing, and I'm doing the right thing? What's going on? What are you doing?
That was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? What about Babbage?
What about him? Fuck him.
What about Donlan?
Fuck him, too.
What about Joey Rendon?
Fell off a building. Did you read the papers? Listen, Sheriff, I'm really sorry to have awoken you from your slumber, but it's over. Hands are tied now. You shut me down.
No, listen to me. You're IA. That's why I came to you. You can do whatever you want. Remember you came to me and said, you want to be a cop? I'm being a cop now. I'm here. I'm asking you for some help. I need to do something. I need to do this for myself.
Listen to me, you deaf fuck. I offered you a chance when we could have done something. I offered you a chance to be a cop, and you blew it. You blew it.
People are all the same.
That cupcake makes a mess. We got a case again.
Hello everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a look back on a compelling cop drama, Copland. Released on August the 15th, 1997, it stars Sylvester Stallone, Ray Liotta, Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro, Anabbella Sciorra, Peter Berg, Michael Rappaport, and it was directed by James Mangold. Now the story of Copland is set within the town of Garrison, New Jersey, where a collection of NYPD policemen have set up location. In a quiet suburban area, they feel safer with their families away from the crime-ridden cities that they have to patrol in. Living this way has given them a sense of free reign to bend the rules when necessary. With having connections to the mafia, with very little interference, the group of cops feel untouchable. Within this town resides local sheriff Freddie Heflin, who himself had aspirations of joining the detectives, but was denied when he lost part of his hearing while saving a woman from a car drowning in the river in his younger years. Whilst he's well liked within the community, Freddie isn't seen as an equal by the other cops. He carries out the mundane tasks within the town whilst watching the cops do the perceived real police work. Now the community of Garrison, New Jersey is suddenly disrupted when the young hotshot cop, Murray Superboy Babbage, is involved in a car chase and in pursuit kills two black teenagers thinking that they were armed with a shotgun when they weren't. Arriving on the scene, the Jersey cops attempt to cover up the incident as an armed assault, but when that's dismissed straight away, they then look to hide Superboy away by claiming that he jumped off the bridge. This will then give them time to help Babbage set up a new identity before he can give his testimony to the police. With rumours already spreading within the media about New Jersey, Internal Affairs agent Mo Tilden enters to investigate and asks Freddie to aid it. Initially refusing to rat out his friends, Freddie's mindset starts to change as his eyes are slowly opened to the corruption within New Jersey. Now when looking back on Copland, it's one of those great movies that you may not fully appreciate on first viewing. Now I can remember back when watching it for the first time, somewhat lamenting at the lack of pace or action. Because of all of the cast involved, I was going in expecting something far more sensationalistic in the likes of Goodfellas, Casino or Heat. But Copland is very much of an understated movie driven by the strength and conviction of its characters. If anything, the smaller scale and location of New Jersey actually adds to the tension. This movie is about how personalities adapt as the world they are settled in starts to change. How an individual must rise up to the fight for the greater good to do what's right. Now many have cited the movie as a modern day western, and yes, that description applies when you look at the overall setting. Now overall, I'd say it probably evokes more of the westerns of the likes of John Wayne and Ann and Ladd, with the clear-cut good versus bad themes, rather than the ambiguous characters that we saw with the Sergio Leone films. The film itself moves at a very leisurely pace with no real outbreaks of action or violence consistently until the movie's climax. Now some may find the movie a bit underwhelming, but it's only when you study all of the characters' nuances and take a deeper look that you realise how great the film is. Now as mentioned before, the film is carried by the weight of its cast and their performances. At the forefront of this of course is Sylvester Stallone as Freddie. At this stage, Stallone was very much fallen from his prolific action superstar status, And Stallone here made a clear intent to revert back to the character actor status that he began with at the start of his career. And he very much came from the same generation as all of his co-stars, and whilst they managed to stay within those character-driven roles, Stallone of course ascended to true cinematic status and iconic reverence throughout the 80s and 90s. But there was always a trade-off of this superstar status, as Stallone lost a certain critical respectability that his co-stars managed to maintain. And his role here as Copland was an earnest attempt to redress that issue. And I think his performance as Heflin is one of the best of his career. It's far more gentle and less forced, and he's easily likeable and rootable as Freddie. You empathise with the character instantly, but this isn't a depressing or angst-ridden character. There's a yearning and wanting to be something more, as well as a self-reflection on what could have been, and we see this with certain scenes of him looking outside the shop window at all of his superior contemporaries, which in many ways is fiction imitating reality to an extent when we look at all of the cast of actors. Now, many have drawn comparisons with Rocky in terms of Freddie as a character, and yes, there are those elements of the underdog story, with Freddie showing hard and resolved no matter how many people continue to underestimate him. We could even look at the role played by Anabbella Sciorra as Liz Randone, who very much shares the same look as what Talia Shire does as Adrian in the first couple of Rocky films. And I think this is a very well judged and consistent performance from Stallone, and I think it's a reminder of how great an actor he can be when given the right script. However, as good as he is in the lead role, we can't deny the presence of his three main co-actors who all bring an energy and presence that really elevates this movie. We have Harvey Keitel as Ray Donlan, who is really the head kingpin of the Jersey cops. He's very smart and savvy and ruthless when necessary. And the fact that him and Ray share a strong friendship adds weight to the choice that Freddie has to make, and also why Ray won't simply have him killed. And it's a very classy performance from Keitel, who has always remained an underrated actor within the industry. We then of course have Robert De Niro, who brings his usual authority and hardened discipline in his role as Mo Tilden. It's so great in seeing him in his type of form, and it's again a reminder of how great he can be even when he plays supporting roles. And we do have to mention the sadly late departed Ray Liotta as Figs, in what might be the best performance of career. In this role, he was one of the original Jersey cops, but he has fallen from grace following his partner Jeff Tunney being killed, who was going to make a testimony which could have implicated the clan of Jersey cops. And we see Figs conflicting with the other cops in the bar, and Liotta is great in these moments. He's all fire and intensity, and this film again confirms on what a great compelling actor that he was. And all of the three actors involved have great scenes where they very much claim ownage over Stallone as Freddie, whether it's Tilden telling Freddie about the town and the truth of real police work and giving him something to do. We have that great moment when Figs talks to Freddie about how to take on the cops and how to move in perpetual motion. Ray has that great monologue late on in the movie where he talks about the justification of what the Jersey cops do, where the cop is the perp and the perp is the victim, of how you have to look at the cards. And this is just great dialogue, and Harvey Keitel delivers it so well. And of course we have probably the most famous scene that was promoted most throughout the film, the argument between Freddie and Tilden when Freddie comes to him having a change of heart about investigating the Jersey cops. The famous line, "You blew it" moment, so typical again of why De Niro is so great in this type of role. And I do also have to mention James Horner's music, which is very earnest and less bombastic, very much like the film itself. And when we talk about the climax itself, it does again have very much tones of the Western, as we see Freddie going on a single lone gunman mission to achieve justice and save the victim. And it's so well handled. And again, it's in keeping with the understated tone of the film itself. It's very much played in silence. Again, very skillfully handled and very emblematic of what this film truly is in terms of its spirit and tone. So we then go on to the movie's overall release, and it was by no means a box office blockbuster, grossing $63.7 million worldwide from a $15 million budget. And to be honest, it was never designed to be a big budget commercial blockbuster. It has far more of that independent feel towards it. It did garner largely positive critical reception because of the actors' performances. Later on, director James Mangold has stated that he felt that the hype over the actors that were cast overshadowed the actual story, maybe giving it a heightened perception as what I've mentioned before. Now we will quickly mention the extended edition of the film, which overall adds an additional 15 minutes or so. And this is where we get far more dialogue driven moments, including more extension of Tilden's speech about an island and how he sees the new Garrison community. We get an extension of Ray's speech to Freddie within the bar later on in the film. We also have the fact that Ray's speech is configured later on into the story, which I think works better in terms of the overall narrative. And you watch all of these moments and you really wonder why they were cut out of the film. They don't harm the film in any way. Now, maybe this was a running time issue. Maybe the studio felt that these scenes made the film too long. They wanted to try and make it far more pacier and intense. But again, as I mentioned before, this is not really your typical action thriller or crime drama. And I think these moments really should have been kept in. And it's so glad again that they have been revised in the extended version. But overall, Copland still stands today as a very classy, understated story of really about what it takes to uphold justice in doing the right thing. How long can we look the other way and ignore what's going on before realising that something has to be done? And all of those themes are still important even in today's climate. And I think this is a film that judged those elements so well. And alongside having 4 fantastic lead performances from a brilliant cast, all of those reasons for me is what makes Copland still a very worthy and great movie to watch many, many years after its release. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review of Copland. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where do you think it ranks within Sylvester Stallone's filmography? Do you think it's right up there in terms of his best career performances? Or do you think he has performed better? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other suggestions regarding any other movies or television shows or issues within the entertainment culture scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary on that subject matter for you in the future. Please consider hitting like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.